Hello again, everyone. This is Santo Taku with Team by the Trigger, bringing you some more match commentary. This past weekend, I wasn't actually able to go out after the tournament. That's generally where I get these types of things recorded. So instead, I decided to add commentary to a match that I recorded a couple weeks ago, but didn't choose to voice over until now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Okay, so it looks like we have Hopechild Turiel up against Greedy Hand. So we have Angel Feather and Dark Irregulars going at it. On the right-hand side, starting it off, we have Captain Showboat riding to the March Hare of Nightmareland. And he passes over to Brony, who will move back Turiel and ride into Pure Keeper Requeel. He goes for the attack, and Showboat will let it right on through. And there is no trigger on either side, but Showboat does lose a Bladewing Reiki, which is unfortunate. So Showboat's turn, and this is really the most important ride in the Dark Irregulars deck, and he does get exactly what he needs there. He gets the Decadent Succubus, and what this card does is allow you to soul charge every time you play a card to rearguard. So no matter which Dark Irregulars deck you're playing, this is generally, the turn 2 ride will generally be the turn where you generate the most soul. Just because of Decadent Succubus's effect. It's so fast and so important that this is really when it gets done. So that's 3 soul charges with 3 unit plays right there, so that's pretty good. He's going to opt to use Yellow Bolt's effect as well. Unfortunately, losing a second perfect guard to the soul, that's just unfortunate. And he attacks with his rear guard Decadent Succubus. If I were Brony, I would definitely let this through here. Yeah, and there we go. What Brony's doing here is he's looking for a trigger. What a trigger will do is bring Requeel up to an 11k, and that will mean the remaining Emblem Master will not be able to get through. So this is probably a minor misplay on Captain Showboat's part here, because he really wants the Emblem Master's attack to get through, so he probably should have attacked with it first. That way there was no chance that a trigger would prevent him from going through. Brony did end up guarding it anyway because he did not get a trigger, so it ended up working out. So Brony will go here after he wrote a couple Million Ray Pegasus, a Million Ray Pegasus to Vanguard and 1 to the rearguard, and he attacks unboosted 9k on 9k, and Showboat will take it. There's a draw trigger, and Showboat does get a heal trigger as well, so that evens out. And we have a 19k Million Ray Pegasus. Looks like he's going to go after the, let's see here, choosing his target carefully. He goes after the 14k Vanguard, so it's like the trigger is cancelled out. Oh, looks like he's changing targets. He's going for the Emblem Master. That's going to be a 15k guard for Captain Showboat here. Let's see what he does. And he will block it. That Emblem Master is going to be too important for generating souls, so that was the right idea there. So he will stand, and he already drew out of order. And now he will ride the Dark Lord of the Abyss and call a Flirtatious Succubus, which is also a very key card for this deck. That's another soul charge right there. And Yellow Bolt will soul charge again. And Flirtatious attacks the rearguard. He made the same mistake this turn that he did last turn. So he's attacking with the Vanguard now. And it looks like the attack will go through, and that'll bring his Million Ray Pegasus up to the next level. This is really important here because 2 turns in a row he's made the same mistake. Especially against Angel Feather, you need to be aware of when you attack. Now, here specifically, he's going up against a Million Ray Pegasus who gains 2,000 power every time Brony takes damage. Now, doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it alters magic numbers. It makes it so some unboosted units can't get through. It's really, really important that you get your important attacks through first. You need to prioritize the attack order because it's not always the same. And this ended up costing him possibly 3 soul, and it made it so that Brony was able to conserve cards in hand. So the Dark Lord's attack does get through, Brony does take a damage, but now Emblem Master cannot get through because of Million Ray Pegasus' effect, so that will end his turn. Moving on to Brony here, he will stand in draws. He rides into his Chief Nurse Shamashil and call a pair of Calamity Flames. So he has a nice little combo going for him. As soon as he gets Limit Break, every time he attacks, he will be able to boost everything by 2k by swapping a card in hand with a card in the drop zone, or rather in the damage zone. And it looks like he can even activate that right now with Hopechild Turiel. There's a nice 1000 Ray Pegasus sitting at the top of the damage zone over there. So as soon as he activates a counterblast, he can take that and put a decent booster into play. Looks like he drops a Sunny Smile Angel behind the Vanguard, and there we go. He's going to go ahead and counterblast. He moves Turiel into the Soul, and he will swap one of the 2 remaining cards in his hand with that 1000 Ray Pegasus, which he just counterblasted. And now he'll call it into play, and all of his units will be at least the 16k mark, which is what they need to be against an 11k Vanguard like Dark Lord of the Abyss. So let's see, he'll move into his battle phase now, I believe, unless he has something else he needs to do. There we go. So Shamashil will attack first, that's an 18k, and Showboat will let it right on through. And there are no triggers there once again. Showboat will take a damage, losing a second copy of Dark Lord of the Abyss, so that's not so bad. Here's a 17k from one of the rearguard Calamity Flames, which he will take again, losing an Emblem Master. And then finally, there's a 19k Calamity Flame, which will attack Emblem Master, actually, which is a little surprising, but Captain Showboat lets it die, and let's see what he does with it. So already drew for turn, now he's standing. And he is just at 4 damage now, so he is at limit break range. And I think he's checking to see if he can ride into... Alright, maybe not, he's just calling out the Emblem Master. So he did have a backup in hand, which is probably why he was so ready to let that one die. And he's counterblasting for Greedy Hand's effect. So he's going to get another 2 soul here. He's trying to make another big push on his soul, probably getting ready for Reggie next turn. And he's checking his deck for a good card. I think normally I would pick the Midnight Bike of the Witching Hour. Probably not essential in this particular situation because he doesn't have one in play to be a booster. But overall, that's the card I generally pick with Greedy Hand. And it looks like he's going to get Decadent Succubus, which is another good pick because he doesn't need those in the rear guard anymore. So taking out of his deck is just good all around because you sort of end up having to run 4 of them because of how important it is for the turn 2 play. But the extra copies end up going to waste. They just end up being shields and discard bait and whatnot. So now he calls a pair of yellow bolts into play. And let's see what he's going to go ahead and use the yellow bolt behind the Vanguard and Soul Charge, unfortunately losing a heal trigger in the effect. And now he will limit break with Dark Lord of the Abyss. It looks like he ended up losing a crit trigger with that one, so that's really unfortunate for him. But I believe that is a plus 12k. I think he has 12 in the soul right now to make it a 23k Vanguard. So that's not bad at all, especially unboosted. So let's see what he does with his rear guards here. Once again, he attacks with Flirtatious Succubus first. And he chooses the Vanguard. Let's see what Brony... Actually, it looks like he changes his mind. He's going to go after the Calamity Flame rear guard. Probably the better choice here. Once again, you got to prioritize your attacks. You don't want to attack the Vanguard too early and make it more difficult to yourself against Angel Feather. So the 23k will attack the Vanguard. First check. And the second check is a critical trigger. And Brony will make his checks now. And Brony will also get a critical trigger. So Shamashil is up to 17k. After, actually, I'm sorry, Shamashil is up to 19k after the plus 4k from 2 damage and plus 5k from the crit trigger. And Emblem Master is at 21 and will just go after the rear guard Calamity Flame there. It will still be a 10k guard for Brony in order to protect that, which may be tough for him. But he does have 3 cards in hand, and it's going to come down to what's more important, his hand or his opponent's soul. So. And surprisingly, he does protect it. He must not have a lot. Well, he did have a million ray he could have replaced it with. It's sort of a questionable play, I suppose, but it's the one he made, and let's see if it works out for him. Alright, so we're going to... He drew for his turn after standing. and his Million Ray Pegasus and his Calamity Flame and Thousand Ray Pegasus combo, as well as the Shamashil combo, will hit a pretty strong level here. I believe that's going to be 21k from the Vanguard attack. There's just no way Showboat can block this right now. And okay, there's a critical trigger which powers up the Bouquet Tosser, and then a draw trigger which powers it up again. And there's the first damage check and the second. The stats here really tell the story of a very close game. Brony ends up with 4 triggers total, and Showboat ends up with 3. On offense, Brony ends up getting 3, 2 of them on the last drive, and Showboat only ends up getting 1, which really probably is part of the reason he lost. And finally, for defense, Brony only got that 1 critical trigger at the end. Showboat did get 2, but one of them was on the very last damage, which was unfortunate for him. Despite the extremely low trigger count, this was actually a pretty quick game, partially due to some misplays on Showboat's side of the table, but also due to the fact that neither player got any actual perfect guards to play with. Both of them happened to ride them in their first turn. Showboat had to at least soul charge one of them that I saw, and Brony ended up putting one in the damage zone on his last drive using Shamashil's effect. Both players hit a single power column. Brony ended up hitting 21k on his last attack, and Showboat ended up hitting 23k on his limit break. And the final score was Showboat at 6 damage and Brony at 5. Very close right till the end. Very fun game to watch. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, as always, please like, favorite, and subscribe as you see fit. I'll hopefully be getting recording in this weekend, so if you have any specific matchup requests you want to see, leave a comment below and we'll do our best to get it to you. I know one of you had requested that we do a tag battle. There's going to be some difficulties actually getting that, and I didn't get a chance to try this weekend, but I did get a taller tripod to work with, so hopefully with a higher angle we'll be able to get all 4 playmats in the camera angle, and we'll see what we can do for you. Also, don't forget to check out our blog. You can find a link in the description below. And finally, a special shout out to Card Capitalist. He's one of the newer YouTubers in the card fight community. He messaged me earlier today and I checked out his channel, and it seemed like he knows his stuff. He just started the channel, looks like today, and he got 3 videos up right away, so I encourage you to all head over there and check out his channel. I know I'll personally be looking forward to his future content, so I'll have a link in the description below to his channel as well. As always, this was Santotaku with Team by Trigger. Until next time.